Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and guess what we are reviewing today? Masterchef. It finally came on.
Yeah, after a month of waiting.
Episodes 8 and 9. So we'll get right into it. Episode 8 is called Birthday Bakes. And what everybody was asked to do was to bake a cake that they wanted on their birthday but they never got, or upgrade a standard, well-liked cake. And so Anna, from last week from Ukraine, who is a really good chef, but she admittedly said she is not good at making cakes. So that was almost like a foreshadowing.
Well, nobody there is really that good at making desserts because it's like the emphasis is placed on making entrees.
Yeah.
They don't care about making desserts, even though when you think of the term master chef, you don't think of someone who can just cook entrees. You think of someone who can do everything.
Yeah.
And that's why in the finale, they make an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. They don't just make an entree.
Which
So-
is kind of ironic.
What?
Well, that they focus so much on entrees, and then when they get to the finale, they have to do all three things.
And the last thing they ever do in the show is a dessert. That's the very last thing they do. So, I thought that the birthday cake episode was pretty good until the elimination. And it's funny because they did the exact same thing last season where they had Kyle. Kyle was the best person there, except for that other Ohio guy. And they sent him home because of that lemon cake. And it seemed like, oh, you're going to send the best chef home? Okay. We'll see how that works out for you. And what do you know, they had a boring contestant win the season who just likes to put beer in everything.
And he's going to be there next week,
Yeah.
apparently.
And in this episode, they did the same exact thing. On a cake episode, too. So it's like they're literally repeating their mistake again.
Well, the thing is, what was confusing to me, and I don't think I've ever seen this before, is last week Anna, remember they were doing teams. It was a soccer challenge. Well, it wasn't last week, it was several weeks ago. And Anna had gathered her team and the Boomers, and they had won. And she was the winner, I think, of the week before. So she got to do that. But apparently, that didn't give her any immunity. Mm-hmm. So she had no immunity, which I didn't get. I've never seen that, ever.
No.
Because since they started this immunity pin, that one person has always gotten immunity. So I was confused about that. And there's no explanation at all. So she had no immunity, but she did get a perk, if you want to call it that. She got to decide which group, which team of people, generation, didn't get to have a beater. In other words, electric mixer, beater, anything like that. If they needed to beat anything, whipped cream, anything, they had to use a whisk, which I didn't get because I grew up with this thing. It's an old utensil, but I guess nobody uses it anymore. But it's like a beater. Well, it's hand done, but you turn the crank yourself, and there's two of them. Yeah,
and that was in Matilda. She used that at the beginning of the movie. That was the 90s, so they should still have those around.
So that would be, to me, personally, I would think that would be, and I use that, we use that all the time when where I grew up, and my mom actually made that meringue-like frosting. They were talking about the Muslim girl, the doctor. She was making a meringue-covered cake, and she had to use this whisk, and that's almost impossible. And we even had that utensil. We would make it over a double boiler.
And she chose to do that after she knew she would have the disadvantage.
Yeah, she said, "Oh, I can do it."
So she really deserved to go home. This is the second time where she's made like a huge mistake. But what happened was the person who won was from her generation, so...
And that's how she made it through.
That's the only way that she made it through. But she really did deserve to go home. It was such a dipshit thing to do. It would be like saying, like... It's those types of people who, like, instead of doing, like, something that is a little bit risky, but they still kind of play it safe a little bit, it's like, no, I'm going to go all out and take so much risk that it's stupid and that it gets me in trouble. And she did that, and I hate it when people do that on these shows because it just makes them look like a show-off, especially when they don't do it. Like the Ohio guy last year, he would do that, but then he would actually get a good result. So it was kind of like worth the showing off.
Well, the thing is, and also they stuck with the rules. So, of course, in this competition, there wasn't a person who got immunity, and therefore their whole group got immunity. So what they do first, of course, they go through the people who made a good cake from each generation. So they went through.
Maybe the reason why they didn't give her immunity is because if she had, because like she's a part of the generation, so that maybe that would just be too many people who are immune from going home.
Oh,
because you have a whole generation, and if it's not her generation, then that's a whole generation plus one other player who all get to stay. But still, it's really stupid in my opinion. Like,
but they didn't. None of them had to go anyway last week.
Yeah.
Or last time.
So she should have gotten immunity.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get. But I'll just go through who they picked to be the best and the main one who got it. Becca from Gen Z, she made a chocolate peanut butter cake. There's more to it than that, but and she made 3 layers. That what I forgot to say. Besides the birthday cake they had to make, they were it had to be 2 layers and look really good and taste really good. And she made a 3-layer cake, and of course they criticized. So you think, uh-oh. And they do that to all kinds of different people. They just make all these criticisms before they even get it going. And
yeah, well, it was funny though, because they walked up to one of the people who went home, and they criticized him, and Safi was like, "Why are they criticizing him?" And it was like blatantly obvious that his cake sounded and looked like trash. So
well, in the end, when they showed all the 4 people, one from each generation, all their cakes just looked like something you'd make on the fly, and it just wasn't. It was very unprofessional.
It looked like something you'd see on Pinterest.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And that's BS. You don't even know what you're talking about.
It's a healthy cake. That's what he said.
Yeah, so to speak. The millennials, Camille, made a lemon confetti cake. It had lemon frosting and the sprinkles. And the Gen X was Kimberly. She made a vanilla cake with strawberry jam filling because she does a lot of canning at home, makes a lot of jams and jellies. So she's very used to working with that and how it should go. And they started getting on her case. Well, if you don't do certain things with that filling, it's gonna overtake the cake and turn it into a big mess.
Yeah.
And she's like, why don't you just let me try it?
Well, why don't you answer the question, too, of what cake would you want? Because I really think there's probably 2 that I would want. Or 3. Number one and 2 would be Buddy, from Cake Boss. He sells cakes. But the problem I have with them is that there's no personalization. But it's so tempting to get, like, these cakes off of Goldbelly, because they also have like JFK's wedding cake or something. Like it's like this raspberry thing. And then Cake Boss, they have like a cannoli cake and stuff, and a strawberry like rainbow cake. It's so tempting, but there's no personalization. But then number 3, I would say it's really all about the design, because for 2 or 3 years now, I've been asking for the bakery to give me a cake where they decorate it and have fun with it, and it seems like they're too afraid to experiment and do like crazy and fun designs on it, and they just give like a really simplistic thing of like what you want. Like for last year, what did I ask for, Safi?
You asked for decoration, well, from the American Horror Story? You talking about that one? Then you're talking about the one with...
I asked for a Winona Ryder themed
Ryder
cake. That's the theme. And instead of like going all out and doing all sorts of fun things on it, putting all sorts of things on it, all they do is just print out a picture of her and put it on the cake. It's like, how lazy is that? Like, you think about all the things you could do. You could make a Beetlejuice design. You could, you know, like the snakes in Beetlejuice, you could put all those on it. You could, in the picture in Heather's, she was having like a slushie and Twizzlers. You could make a slushie, put it on top of the cake with the slushie running out of the top of it down on the cake. Obviously fake. And, you know, so many things you could have done. But for some reason, this bakery just refuses to have fun. They just do a very boring, simplistic, okay, we'll put a picture of Winona Ryder.
I think it has to do, they're afraid it'll be rejected and then they'll lose money or something.
Yeah, well, I think they deserve to be rejected because of not doing anything fun, which is what I would really like. Because they did one for Safi one year. It was 2019 or 2020. No, it was 2019, I believe. And it was a strawberry cake, and they were literally just told they could do whatever they wanted. And they did like some really cool stuff on there and had fun. And I don't see why they can't do that again. So, Safi, what would be the cake that you would want?
Well, I have to tell one more cake. And this is probably the one I would want. Except I don't know about the alcohol. But Christopher from the Boomers made a Black Forest cake. And he said that at his birthday parties when he was growing up, they would always get this very ordinary plain cake, and but the adults would get something like this Black Forest cake, and he wanted something like that. And there were the fruits that were in it. I think it's cherries. He soaked it in some kind of a liqueur.
No, it was the whipped cream, Safi.
Oh, well, there was liqueur in the cake, and. But anyway, his really looked the best.
Yeah.
Joe said it had the most professional aesthetic. And really, that's saying a lot because really, overall, I don't think the cakes were very good.
No. I thought, you know, maybe it wasn't the best idea to give them creative control. Because the cakes from last year were a lot better.
Well, last year they had specific cakes they wanted to be made. I'm not sure how it was picked, but it could have been that they drew something and whatever was on it was the cake they got. I can't remember how they did it, but it was when they had fewer contestants, so it was later in the competition, and whatever cake that was chosen for them, they chose on a stick or whatever, they had to do it, and they had examples of the cakes on a display table. So they could actually see, because some of them had never seen or heard of the cake before. So
I just didn't see very much creativity.
Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah, anyway, out of all those, I thought Christopher did really well.
And Safi's a liar too, because last night I was saying, "Ooh, I'd really like to make that," and you said, "No, thanks, Marco."
Well, I thought about it.
Yeah.
Actually, I like strawberry. Remember, when you were just
Safi,
talking...
Black Forest is not strawberry, it's
No,
cherry.
but Kimberly's was a vanilla cake with strawberry jam filling.
I wasn't talking about her
strawberry
cake.
frosting.
I was talking about Black Forest cake that he made. That was really good. And I've had Black Forest cake before.
Yeah, I have too. Long time ago.
At a German celebration in 8th grade. And it was fantastic. And it would definitely be something I'd like to have again. It's a very interesting flavor. And it's unique.
Well, anyway, Becca, the Gen Z girl who's very mouthy and a little bit braggy and
Yeah, didn't she...
full of herself.
Wasn't, like, when she first walked in, she said, like, they're all celebrating her or something?
No.
She said, like, some really weird line.
She said all kinds of weird stuff like that. But she won the immunity pin, so I think what happened was they were so bent on her failing because she was making 3 layers instead of 2. And since she showed them, I think that's why they picked her. And this meant that the Muslim doctor, who I think is Gen Z, remember we were talking about her cake, the meringue. Well, that means she got immunity, because if the one person of the group gets immunity, the whole group gets it. So anyway, then we come to the bad cakes. And it was amazing, because I say Anna and Rebecca is the boomer woman who
The
is
bitch.
another mouthy, full of herself
I would say the three worst people there
two
are
women
her,
and a guy.
yeah, her, and then Becca, and then that dirt guy. Those are the 3 worst people there.
Yeah, they are, because they're just mouthy and they're full of themselves. And so anyway, Anna, the Ukrainian girl, she and Rebecca, their cakes like tipped over. And Anna, for some reason, I don't know why she did this, but she put way too much icing on the layers. Remember, it had to be a double layer cake. So, and I don't know what else happened, but they said the cake was very inedible. And then 2 other...
They said it was too rich, too sugary or something.
Yeah, I guess that's what it was. Because it was too much icing. And
But I think that's subjective.
Yeah.
I would like to try that cake because, to me, even the worst cake can be saved with the choice of ice cream. Because let's say that the cake is too rich. Well, then maybe get a vanilla ice cream that isn't very rich, it's very light, and then get a light slice of the cake. And it will not be rich at all.
Right.
Because you perfectly, protected against that from getting the ice cream and then not getting a huge slice of cake. So I think that her getting sent home was almost like a shock value type of thing where they're like, ooh, look, see, even the best person here can get sent home. Because I feel like, I just don't understand, like, she's the best person there, and they sent her home.
Yeah, I think everybody was shocked. I don't care what group they were in.
I think what's sad is that they don't have that type of episode anymore near the end where people are allowed to come back to compete to have a spot in the show. Because I feel like this would be the perfect time to do that so that she could get back on the show. I mean, remember, in Masterchef Junior Season 5, that girl got sent home, and then she came back, and she was the winner of the season. So, it's like, why don't they do that anymore? Like, it just shows that, like, someone who got sent home could easily be the winner if they gave them a chance.
But the part of the problem with this, though, was who the other bad ones were. And the other 2 bad ones were, I'm just going to call them Geeg, and I don't know if that's the proper, but from the Boomers. He made some kind of blueberry cake, but in order to make it, the frosting, I guess, to make it
he put
thicker,
flour in the frosting.
raw flour, and they all had a fit.
That is so gross.
And, that's not going to taste good. I just, if you make and I guess he made a buttercream frosting?
I guess. He said it was cream cheese.
Well, that's
cream cheese with blueberries. I can't remember,
that
but
doesn't make any sense.
He said it was like a healthy cake, and it's like, ew. Like, see what I mean? Like, these people should not have gotten creative freedom with this one, because these people, they don't know what to do.
Well,
they don't know how to make dessert or anything.
Well, that's what I say. They don't have enough experience to do that. So anyway, because he did that, it was like, and he put his name on the top.
Yeah.
Or something like it.
And
they said it wasn't spelled right. It looked very unprofessional, and they didn't like that either. But it did. Well,
it was very reminiscent to, they have these clips on YouTube where they show, like, the worst moments of Masterchef. And there was this one idiot, and he put, like, the Masterchef logo on, like, a soup or something. Oh. And it was the same type of thing where, like, yeah, that person's getting sent home. Like, that's fucking gay.
And Joe said because of that flour, he said, it tastes like blueberry pancakes to me.
Yeah.
And then the last one was Arthur, and I think he's the other, I never can remember, the other generation, the one right before.
The one that Safi wouldn't review.
No, I don't know what why Marco. He's 70. His name is Arthur.
He made a cake that it didn't look terrible. No, honestly, it was just really clunky. It's like he had like a layer of fruit and a layer of frosting in the middle. What an idiotic idea! All you had to do was put the fruit in the frosting and then chop it up and mix it together so that it's a one thing. That's all you had to do.
So they talk about how big the fruit pieces were too big, and when he was making it, they said that. So anyway, what happened was they picked Geeg. They said, "Okay, Geeg, you're going home." And then Anna was like, "Oh my God, I'm saved."
Yeah, she was crying. She was like, "Oh no! Russia's gonna win, and I'm gonna get sent home. No, my poor Ukraine." And the Asian guy was like, "It's okay, just pray to God that you'll be okay." And then she was like, "Oh," and then they were like, "You're going home too," and she was like, "No!"
She didn't act like that at all.
And she started crying.
Yeah, she was like, she couldn't believe it.
It was so shitty, and Safi was like, "Oh no!" And then Safi started crying too.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Would you stop?
You were very upset. Because you said, there's no way she's getting sent home. And I was like, oh, really? Safi, it's Masterchef. They don't do jack shit right on the show.
Well, so they sent 2 people home.
Yeah.
Nobody was expecting that. Everybody kind of understood with Gig. Because cake was so, flour and also how unprofessional it looked.
I think this episode should have stood alone. This whole thing of having 2 episodes at once... I don't think it's a good idea because this episode was like, it stands by itself because it's so impactful. They send 2 people home, and then right after that you have this episode, and it's like, who even cares about the next episode after this major thing happened? Like, they should have aired this episode instead of like waiting for a month to do episodes again.
So the next episode's episode 9. And it's called Memory Lane.
I hardly paid attention to this one because I was just so not in the mood to watch another episode.
I know. And Becca's, besides winning immunity from the last show, she got to pick which generation uses which mystery box. Now, what am I talking about? Each generation was given a mystery box. Now, this doesn't mean they cooked together. They, as individuals, they would cook whatever it was in the mystery box. They had to pick at least 4 ingredients from the mystery box, and then they had a limited pantry from which to choose other things to put with these ingredients. Okay, so anyway, these mystery boxes were synonymous with the generation they were from. So Gen Z, for example, had fake meat, that plant meat. I just think about it, makes me want to and oatmeal, stuff like that.
Stuff
and
that Safi really enjoys.
No, I don't. And then so on. And I think that the Gen X, that's the one I can never remember because I'd never heard of it until this show. Their generation had a lot of, it was all snack ingredients. And they were even like, ugh, they didn't care for it. And then there was the baby boomer box, and that had powdered milk and all kinds of things in there.
I thought it was a stupid challenge.
Yeah,
it reminded me of, like, what if someone made Cutthroat Kitchen but didn't understand how to make it at all? So they just did this. It's like a really stupid version of Cutthroat Kitchen, where like, oh, you have all these snack ingredients, and that's what you have to use to make your dish. It's like, it wasn't really as interesting as they thought it would be, or it was just because I was so disinterested in it. I mean, I hardly even paid attention to the episode.
So what Becca got to do was to choose which generation would use which box. And Gen Z, okay, Boomers got the Gen Z box, which is horrible, but it doesn't matter. The Gen X one was the worst, and I think they just had to keep theirs.
Yeah.
And then
because it was so bad, it was like there's no point in switching. They already had a shitty box.
And Gen Z's got the millennial box, and the millennials got the boomers box. I couldn't believe I actually wrote that down. I didn't even know.
What?
Well, I wrote down but anyway, it was a very big challenge for everybody, it seems, but especially with
your face is a challenge.
Fake meat and other things, and snacks, you know. So the good ones were, I don't know, his name is Ernesto from the Boomer. He made some kind of eggplant with sauce and croquettes. And Gen Z was Cornhole Girl. And she made some kind of lemon salmon with kale salad. And Joe said it was a good to an excellent dish.
Yeah.
And Gen X, Daniela.
You know, Cornhole kind of looks like she could be a witch. Like, if they could make, like, a movie where she's, like, a witch of, like, the suburbs, like that porno that Safi forced us to watch called Sorceress of Suburbia. Like,
actually,
she could be
to watch anything.
She could be the Cornhole Sorceress of Suburbia.
Oh God! And Gen X, Daniela made a chicken-flavored ramen noodles with little meatballs. And remember, they had the worst box in a certain way because it was all snacks, basically. But she was able to make it really good. But I mean, to me, it doesn't sound good. But they liked it. And then the last one, the millennials, was Michael. Now they've showed him in a lot of advertising, so I think he's there for a while.
Michael?
He's the one whose mom passed away. And they watched Masterchef together.
I can't remember. I literally don't know what he looks like at all.
No, he's kind of like, 6 feet. I don't know. Curly hair.
Well, I literally can't remember him.
Well, he made some kind of breaded pork chops
with
that guy. Spinach. And they liked the pork chop because they said it was loaded with flavor. And out of all the people, the only thing that sounded good to me was salmon, although kale, I don't eat kale. But anyway, they picked Michael, so he won the immunity pin. So all the millennials, of course, passed. They didn't get, they got immunity. They said that the pork chop was loaded with flavor. So the bad ones were Christopher from the Boomers. He made a pan-seared chicken thigh and a salad with jackfruit sauce. And apparently, his was bad because he did not cook the chicken thigh long enough, which is kind of amazing. It was a big chicken thigh, but it was raw. And they couldn't even eat it. But they said the jackfruit sauce and salad were really good, and if that had been good, it would have been a perfect meal. And Gen Z, Mert, who we don't care for, it's one of the loudmouth.
He's up there again for the millionth time.
He made steak with mashed potatoes and salad. Now, it could have been a little bit more...
Well, he cooked with the best meat in the world, which is filet mignon, Wagyu beef. Oh. And apparently he misused it, like... They said it was medium, so I don't know if it was because it was medium instead of medium rare or what, but like they said that he did not cook it well enough. And that was why he was up there. And then
the final... It a sloppy, messy, dirty plate. That's what Joe said. And then Arthur from Gen X...
He was up there for the second time in a row, and this time it was because of a raw egg. And immediately I knew, okay, you have a raw egg... a steak that isn't medium rare, and raw chicken. Raw chicken. And what is the worst thing there? It's by default the raw chicken, because with raw chicken, you're guaranteed to get sick. So, people eat raw eggs. It's not really a problem.
That's right. And that's like a healthy thing.
Raw chicken, I immediately knew, that guy's going home. And what do you know? He went home. So,
yeah. And he's the one that made that very fancy cake.
This was a lame episode.
Yeah, I didn't care.
The last episode, I was gonna give it a B+, but then I have to give it an F because they sent the best person home. And then this episode, I just give it like a C because maybe it was just because I wasn't in the mood to watch another episode. Or maybe it was just because it was really kind of average and dull.
And we talked about this too, that we were not looking forward to watching 2 episodes of Masterchef in one night, because that means it starts at 8 and ends at 10.
Yeah, that's the whole evening.
And we were supposed to give our cat medicine. I completely forgot about it because I was so tired. And so I've had to change that now.
Safi was too busy watching a Nicolas Cage movie.
Yeah, I know you should say that. I had to watch a movie, but I actually watched that this morning because we were having internet issues and it kept stopping, and I just got sick of it, and I was tired. And
so these episodes, they were kind of it's because it's like now. Who do you even care about anymore? Like, nobody there is worth winning the show, winning the season. Like, I'm not really rooting for anyone.
No, just watching it to watch it.
Yeah, just watching it to review it. The Ukrainian girl should have won the season.
Well, I think we have trouble, too, because when she did the team challenge, and even though they won, they weren't impressed with her. They didn't like me. They thought because she was trying to make everything too she was too perfectionist.
Yeah, she's a perfectionist, but the thing is that
she's still really good chef.
Being a perfectionist is better than being a TikTok chef like that dirt guy. Or being a bitch like that boomer woman.
Yeah, she said.
There was I think it was like.
She says. I just got...
When Becca won or something, she... Like, everyone just claps, because it's like common courtesy thing, just... But then she had to say something really loudly, like she's that type of person who has to, like, inject herself into everything. So what'd she say, Safi?
She said, well, Christopher, remember, he was the one that made raw chicken. And she said, "Love you, Chris." To me, that was so phony.
Oh, yeah, okay. It was when Chris got sent home. She was like, "Love you, Chris!"
Uncle, don't be so loud.
But I have to explain what she really did. She wasn't like, "Love you, Chris." She was like,
"Don't do it." Bernie even like our cat. Well, he was sound asleep on the bed, and he just woke up and ugly. Waking up.
Well,
so anyway, it was phony.
It was so fake and phony.
I didn't like it.
I just can't stand when people do that on these reality shows. Like, people get so fake on these shows because they know that the cameras are watching. We all know that, like, if there weren't any cameras, she'd just stand there like, heh.
In her case, when she made the cake, I don't even know what she made for the other dish, but her cake was tipped over too.
Yeah.
But she didn't get in trouble. And they're actually, and I don't remember them doing, this was new too. I don't remember them doing this. When they go around looking for the best and the worst, I don't remember them tasting things.
Yeah, they taste a little bit because they have to. They have to, like...
Well, I would think so too, but I don't remember them doing that.
I just don't know what exactly they taste. Like, do they taste elements on the station? Or do they taste off of another plate that doesn't go up there, or what? Like, I don't know.
That's a good question. I didn't even think about that.
Where did they get pieces off of these cakes? Like, how could they do that? Or, yeah.
I don't know, but they did do that several times. I'm like, huh.
But that was a good thing, because remember, when they first started doing this, we would criticize that and say, oh, they're just going around and basing, like, who's the best and worst because of looking at things.
Yeah, based on looks, yeah.
So it's actually a good thing they showed that, they're tasting things.
Yeah, and that's what they always tell them to do.
Yeah.
So, when they're cooking. So anyway, next week, I think they're going to have another group challenge. Remember, now, from now on, I suppose...
It's 2 episodes.
And that's just... yeah.
Next week they're also going to do that beer episode with the winner of last season.
Yes.
You have to put beer in your dish.
Yeah.
So that it tastes like crap, and only men in their 40s want to eat it, and weird women.
And just to tell you, the Muslim girl, if what is supposedly that they're not supposed to even drink alcohol, so I don't know how that's going to work for her. Because even if she uses it, she can't taste it. So I don't know how that works.
I don't want beer in my food.
I don't either. It just,
unless it's like bratwursts.
Yeah, brats.
Or
brats.
Or maybe once in a while, like beer battered, like fish. Other than that, I don't want it. I don't want beer in my food.
I don't either. But they talked about this when that guy won. How he uses beer.
Yeah, because he sells beer.
Right, he sells it. So if you sell it, if you can push it another ways by selling it, you can tell how you use it in your cooking. And I imagine, I wonder if he even does that anymore. Sells beer.
Well, I guess doing that is better than making male and female dishes like that woman did. Remember?
Yeah.
She's like, this dish is a masculine dish, and this dish is a feminine dish. It's like, fuck you.
Nobody thinks that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised she thought that way. I don't know. I don't know if they discussed that before she went on, that she was going to say stuff like that. And she never said anything like that until that very last part.
Yeah, it was like she saved it. She saved the best for last.
Which it was the worst. So anyway, that's it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Tell us what you think. If you have any opinion about Masterchef, I know people watch it because I've talked to them, and I don't know if they listen.
Where do you talk to them, Safi? Do you talk to them in your head?
No, Marco.
Are they really there?
Around here watch Masterchef.
Oh.
And
are they in the room with us right now?
No, they're not, unless they decide to listen to the video. And that's it. So, and if you want to become one of our subscribers, you're more than welcome, because we welcome you wholeheartedly. So, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.